Hiya, everybody. This is Eddy Amoo from The Real Thing, and you're listening to me on Six Towns Radio. Enjoy.
Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.
Okay, at Six Towns Radio, we all know you can't beat The Real Thing, so we've got Eddy from the band The Real Thing on the phone today. Hello, Eddy. You all right?
All right, I'm good. How are yourself? Okay?
Not bad at all, not bad at all. First of all, I just want to say, from myself being a DJ and every other DJ out there, thank you very much for giving us the two most perfect songs to play at the end of the night. And You To Me and Everything, can't get by without you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Just amazing songs. I know you've done so many, but from a DJ point of view, I must have played both of them hundreds of times.
It's funny how music lives on, doesn't it? It's quite strange, really. You know, like footprints in time, they just go on and on. The artists get older, and the music stays the same.
It really does. But
pretty scary.
For The Real Thing, though, being a soul band coming from Liverpool in the 60s, it must have been difficult being in a pond full of rock and roll bands.
Well, Real Thing didn't come on the scene till about 72, and everything had basically changed in Liverpool by then, I should think. We'd grown sort of out of the Merseybeat era, you know, that classic era. And I think Liverpool needed something different, and I just think we were at the right time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, totally, yeah. And obviously, it wasn't until 76 when the hits started flowing out there. And just mentioned You To Me on Everything. It was just such a massive hit for you, wasn't it?
It was the song that opened all the doors for us. It was massive. I mean, it was just a fairy story, really, because really, I mean, in the sort of like, how can I put this? The way it usually works in this business, we didn't actually write You To Me on Everything. So, really, we're very, very fortunate to get the song. We got it because nobody else seen it, if you understand what I'm saying. Nobody else seen the potential in it, and that's why we got it. Do you know what I mean?
So,
we did.
Yeah. So quite lucky then, really.
Very lucky. Yeah. Very lucky because we've been sort of like chipping away for years and years, and we were getting a lot of sort of like street success and a lot of credibility, particularly from the media, with songs like we were writing like Children of the Ghetto and stuff like that. But basically, these songs them type of songs don't open doors for you.
Yeah.
You need a song that opens the door, and that's what You To Me was. You To Me was a piece of magic, and married to Christopher's lead voice, it was quite a monster because I don't know whether you know this, but in America there were 6 separate versions of You To Me.
Wow.
They were all awful and they all failed, but they basically they spoiled us from breaking out in America, you know.
Wow.
I mean, Frankie Valli done it, for God's sake. Can you imagine Frankie Valli singing You To Me on Everything?
Yeah, I know, yeah, but it's just a life-changing moment for you to get that song and get out there.
Life-changing, you've got it right in the nail. It was a life-changing, and you know, you've got to remember, we liked the song, but we didn't ever expect it to be a hit. Do you know what I'm saying? We just didn't, because by then, you've got to remember that, like, I began in 64 in a group called The Chants, which did come out of the Merseybeat era, and I joined The Real Thing in 75. So, all them years I've been sort of like making records, putting them out. You don't even think of having a hit in the end. You just think, oh, let's go in and do this. And then you come out and you forget all about it because nothing happens. And it was the same with you To Me. We recorded it, came out of the studio, and we thought, well, that's it. You know, we never even thought about it until we started getting the phone calls to say that it was starting to dribble out of the shops.
Yeah, and then Can't Get By Without You again. Just the beat and the feel of that song.
Well, the story behind that was written by the same team who wrote You To Me, Ken Gold and Mickey. They'd already tried that with another artist and it had bombed. But Linton Naif, the arranger, came up with a new arrangement of the song for us, which, when I heard it, I really freaked. You know, that intro? I really freaked when Linton played it to me.
It's beautiful.
This is
beautiful.
But because of what had happened with You To Me, I thought, this is a monster.
And it was that big, and you know, it spawned a couple of remixes, but 10 years later, the Decade remixes got you back into the top 10 again.
In 1986, we were the 3rd biggest selling band in this country.
Yeah.
All on remixes. Totally bizarre, but wonderful once again for us, because once again it introduced us to yet another audience who stayed with us.
I remember there was a few people who jumped on that success of yours, like the Tavares, and they got mixes out there and brought it out to a new audience. You know, the Stock Aitken and Waterman years were around at the time, so you were getting kids buying your music.
Exactly, yeah. Because of the recycling, the continuous recycling, you know, with the sampling and all that stuff, this is really, well, not only has it broadened the actual money earning potential, but once again, it's widened everybody's audience, you know?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Children of the Ghetto. That was re-recorded by Mary J. Blige and Phil Bailey.
Absolutely.
That is an amazing
I remember,
compliment.
you know, my daughter lives in America. And I remember one day she rung me up and said, I've just heard your song, Children of the Ghetto, Philip Bailey's version, in a movie called Cock. I said, what? Because you've got to understand that it just goes through the system. The checks reach us in the end, if you like. But we don't get told every time somebody's going to record one of our songs. You know what I'm saying? Nobody rings up and says, oh, so-and-so's recording your song. I mean, it doesn't happen like that.
No.
You know what I mean? So we actually didn't realise that Philip had done it, right? And I'll go back on that. We knew Philip Bailey had done it because it went on the Chinese Wall album that was released by Phil Collins produced. So we knew he'd done it, but we didn't know it was going to be in a Spike Lee movie until it was actually in the movie, you know. God, we were over the moon, we were made up. And when Mary J. Blige done it, whew,
I know.
Jesus.
It's just
and we were also thrilled with Courtney Pine's version as well. That was a buzz.
Yeah, and one of the biggest recording artists at the moment and producers, Daft Punk, sampled you as well, haven't they?
Daft Punk, honestly, I mean, once again, now the story behind this is, in like, I think it was like 78, we released a song called Love's Such a Wonderful Thing, which everybody thought, this is going to be a massive hit, this, you know. But for some reason or other, it stalled at 32. And we could never understand why it stalled. It's just one of them weird things in the business, because it was a great tune. And 20 years down the line now, that Daft Punk, right, come up. They left the sort of like the main line, I've got so much love to give. And they sampled that, and they put like a dance beat behind it, which, to be perfectly honest, wasn't that really to our liking. We accepted that people see things differently, but, you know, that's in a way still a compliment. And then 5 years further on, this takes back to number, I think, year 2005, 2006, the Freeloaders, a Manchester-based production group, basically took that version and basically embellished it, right? Put it out, and that this time it charted, it got to about number 6, 12 or something in the chart. And you've got to remember, we make the same money as if it was a Real Thing record, if you understand what I'm saying, yeah?
Oh, of course,
So it's quite a buzz.
Yeah. Oh,
and it was like a sort of like something coming full circle. Okay, so it didn't happen in 78, but it happened in 2006, albeit in a different form.
Yeah, it just shows...
strange.
It just shows it was destined to be a hit, really.
Absolutely. It's pretty strange, you know, because once again, sold to a younger audience, right? Sold to a younger audience with a different sort of like beat underneath it. This business is wonderful, but it's strange.
It just goes to show what these producers and DJs were inspired by. You know, your Daft Punks and your Freeloads just mentioned. They were listening to Chic. They were listening to The Real Thing. They were listening to Earth, Wind and Fire. You know, they were really drawn to all that music because it was so amazing.
I think the secret of the music in that era is that there was still plenty of, what would you use? There was a lot of scope for new ideas, new songs, and the songs were essentially live. Not live in the way they were, say, if we were to go back to the early 60s. Stereo changed everything, didn't it? Stereo changed everything because when they discovered how to make stereo records, and at the same time, we realized that they could, we don't have to sort of like get it all right together. Now we can drop in and out. We can have separate tracks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's when music stopped being live in the live sense, but it was still a lot more liver than it is now. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like now records are made like almost like machines. I do it myself. You know, you get your computer, you've got loads of programs on the computer which allow one guy to actually create a full orchestra, if you like, or a full band.
Yeah.
Right? So the old way of recording would say 9 or 10 musicians in the studio, and somebody going 1, 2, 3, and them all coming in together, right? That's not done very much these days.
No, it's recorded in little parts.
And I think that's the difference between records that were done, say, in the 70s, and maybe up to the mid-80s, possibly, to now.
Yeah. And
I think you can hear the difference when you if you put sort of like a record that was recorded, say, in 1974 on, 75, 76, them records sound wonderful because, in a sense, they're practically live.
Yeah.
They're very alive. Do you understand what I'm saying, yeah?
You've got the ear for it as well. You can hear that music now is layered, can't you?
Well, you as a DJ must hear the difference.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
You must hear the difference when you put... I mean, there's this argument that's everlasting between vinyl and CDs. The CD, in a way, it almost devalues music in a sense because it's so throwawayable.
Yeah.
You can create a CD, you can copy that CD up 10 million times.
Mm.
Whereas your piece of vinyl was precious, wasn't it?
Oh, they still are to me. I've still clung on to quite a lot.
But they were precious. When you had a piece of vinyl, you had something.
Yeah.
A CD, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't have the same gravitas to me.
No.
It doesn't have it. I mean, like everybody else. I mean, time can't be rolled backwards. But it's not the same because a CD can be created almost instantly. It can be copied, recycled, copied. But that piece of vinyl was your piece of vinyl. You had to look after it because you knew when it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and now it's even worse with MP3s. It's even more throwaway, isn't it?
It's just throwaway. That's, in a sense, and I don't say this lightly, in a sense, music's been devalued as to what it was. And there's no getting away from that, you know. Mm. There's no getting away from it. But that's life, you know. Life doesn't stop, it moves on.
No.
And you have to move on with it, you know what I mean?
Well, you've had to move on, and I suppose you're still recording now, and you're still touring, doing new stuff and old stuff, and you still love doing the tours, don't you?
Oh, we love it, man. We love it. There's nothing better than being... Live work beats everything.
Yeah.
It beats everything. There's nothing better than that buzz, you know, when you're on stage and the audience are with you. And we do a lot of self-promotions now. We do a lot of theatres because what we refuse to do is get shuttled off into the sort of like work and men's clubs and all the, you know, sort of like the oldies things and stuff like that. It's hard to explain. But we wanted people to be able to see us in concert doing what we can do, not doing endless cameos where you run on and you do 20 minutes or half an hour or something, you know what I mean? Because when people buy the act, they're usually buying the hits. They want you to do your hits. So they only want you to do maybe about 45 minutes. But in our sort of like concert show, we're doing like an hour and 3/4.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're getting value then because any artist wants to, you know, obviously sing the hits, perform the hits, but they want to put that new music forward as well.
What they want to do is show the audience what they can do.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not just about running on for half an hour and then I'm running off. Hey, this is what we can do. And if you can do that, as far as I'm concerned, you've cracked it, you know, because the audience can see what you can do and they enjoy your talent, you know.
Yeah. I've seen that you're on at the Oakengates Theatre in Telford, which is just up the road from us, very soon. And all the dates for the tour are at thelegendaryrealthing.com, is that right?
That's the one.
So they can catch all the dates all on there. It's been fantastic talking to you today, Eddie, and I just want to say thank you very much.
Nice one, mate. Cheers.